Hello, hello. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate everybody for coming in tonight. We will have a special guest that's going to join us tonight. So rules stand as always, respectful in the chat. Doodle will be in the chat tonight, and she is not afraid to sling that wrench. So please make sure that you're respectful. We will have a special guest, a family member, and we're going to talk about some heavy information tonight. We're going to share the story of Alyssa. Her mother, Melissa, will be joining us here in just a little while. Kimber fell off. Kimber, you're going to have to click the link again. And we'll do as normal. We'll run through the chat, say hello to everybody. We had Stormy in here. I'm not sure who was first. Doodlebug is in the house. Lisa Joe is in the house. Of course, we have Arctic Fox in the house. Throughout the chat tonight and also in the description of the live, you will see the Somerville Police Department. You're going to see the county prosecutor's office numbers and contact information for all the appropriate places, because at the end of this live, guys, I want you to do your thing. This is a call to action. We need to put some pressure on these officials to help this mom get justice for her daughter. Once you hear the story, you will understand why. We need to put some pressure on this local law enforcement, because once again, we have another family with no justice. Paula's in the house. Thank you so much for being here, Paula. If y'all hear a loud warm, it's my mom just snoring. Oh, Lord. So there's some more of the contact information. These will all be in the description as well. As long as she doesn't snore like Craig, we should be fine. Jody's in the house. Thank you so much for being here, Jody. Thank you all for joining. Please get comfy and enjoy. Cake is served at every corner. The coffee is always hot. Please lick it as you own it, Lord Doodle. Thank you so much. Make sure I don't miss anybody coming in. Here's Crime Curious. Thank you so much for being here tonight, love. Lisa Joe. Far Q's in the house. There's our Aussie sister. Kimber and me will be outside. Kimber, hit the link. It's in our Discord chat if you want to come up and join us as well. Okay. Make sure I don't miss anybody. I know I have intro issues. I was going to pull you up and you dropped before I could grab you. The intro that I have on the channel I have to update due to the stuff that's going on that we've been dealing with on the other side of things. Let me drop this link in chat. Okay, there's a link. Critical Minds, thank you so much for being here. There she is. She's back.
You let me in this time?
I did.
I could hear you and Arctic just a talking. And I said, I'm backstage, but it got me nowhere.
I do apologize.
It's all right.
Right, Melissa, drop that link in the chat whenever you're ready, honey. You can grab that link and come on up. This is, like I said, guys, this is a call to action. When you hear this story, you will be as heartbroken and infuriated as I was, and Arctic, and Doodle, and Kimber, and this mama. So please take the time to write those respectful letters, emails, make the phone calls, and let them know that we want justice. We are the voice for the voiceless, and we are loud, and we don't go away, and we're meant to be heard. Because like in so many other cases, if you guys saw the thumbnail, this is New Jersey, where these families have to fight for justice, and it's not fair. Emily, thank you so much for being here. Tanya, thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys all for being here. Another very strong warrior mother. Absolutely. Absolutely. Did I miss Melissa coming in? There she is. Come in 1 minute, please. Yeah, you take your time. You absolutely take your time. Sure, I'm not missing anybody. Emily, thank you for being here. Dirty Jersey, right? Critical knows we. If you guys were um, in Arctic's live when he had her name just slipped my mind, Danielle Lopez, right? On panel, Arctic,
Yeah, and I had
and what her
Danielle Lopez's mother on panel. Absolutely.
and what she's went through with New Jersey.
Oh, they're not giving her any information on what's going on in that case. I mean, I understand holding some stuff close to the vest, but they're not telling her nothing.
No. It's frustrating. Well, here is Melissa. Melissa, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too good. I'll be honest with you, I'm very nervous. It's been a long time since I've told her story, and my emotions are already hitting me. So it's gonna be a little rough. If you could just have some patience with me, I will get through it. It's just I hit rough patches, and bumps with my anxiety.
You are totally fine, girl. This is we call this the front porch. There's no rush at all. You take your time. We're here for you. We say, come on up and sit and rock. And this is a safe place. If you need to breathe, if you need to take a moment, that's we are here for you. We just want to help get your daughter's story out there. And I have a great community over here. They're all willing to make those phone calls, send those emails. We even got PO boxes in here where you guys can write letters and send it snail mail. So you
Wonderful. That's exactly what I need. Thank you so much. I also am a crier. I'm either a fighter or a crier. There's no in between. Tonight you're gonna get a crier. So um I'm already tearing up a little bit, but I just, like I said, I don't really know where to start. I don't know how you want to start it. Uh I don't even know how you run your panel. So if you could just like tell me what you normally do, and I guess I'll follow your lead.
all right.
No, no
So
one can
the
tell
the
this. No, go
go
ahead. I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Arctic. Yeah, he was going to
I
say
was
the
gonna
same
say
thing
no.
I was.
No one can tell the story the way you can. You're her mother. I mean, what we usually do is we start with the day that she left the house, how you said goodbye to her and everything, and then not ever. I mean, you didn't know that was going to be the last time that you were going to see her, and then take us through what transpired in the investigation. I mean, you've got those text messages, you've got an admission on tape. I
Yeah,
mean, it's crazy.
yeah, it is. So I guess let's just jump in. Normally, I like to give people, I'm not going to read the comments right now because it'll distract me, and I'm already distracted with neighbors and just a long day. So I'm trying my best. Sorry, I got a text message. I told people please don't text me right now. Um, so I guess we'll just jump right in to that day. I do like to sometimes just give people an idea of who Alyssa was, but I can get to that later.
Oh no, you can absolutely do that first.
Yep,
Okay.
you can tell who she was, and that way, tell who she was and her
Yeah.
story, and how, this is your floor tonight. So however you feel comfortable telling her story, and I do the same thing a lot of times is I'm not ignoring chat, but if I'm doing a family interview like this, I star comments, star questions. We can periodically stop, take questions, and do things like that. But this
Yeah.
is this is your home tonight.
Okay. So, my name is Melissa. I live in New Jersey. I had one child, and her name was Alyssa. She was 23 years old when she passed away. Um, our lives growing up, Alyssa's life growing up wasn't perfect, but it wasn't horrible either. Um, she was, it's not, I say it a lot. I'm not saying this because she's my daughter or that she passed away. And I know that's hard to believe, but I always tell people in my social media, there's a lot of her friends, acquaintances, teachers, people that know her, take it from them. It will be very hard for you to find one person that has something negative to say about Alyssa. Um, Alyssa was very much her mother as well. We both have hearts of gold, but we don't take crap either. She she was a good girl. Um, she would do anything for anybody. One of her qualities that she was very proud of, and that we all are as well, is that she would forgive anyone for anything. She would always give second chances. She was kind, selfless, and she was a good girl. Alyssa did have some issues with anxiety, um, mild, minimal depression that resulted from the anxiety. The anxiety comes, unfortunately, from my side of the family and her father's side of the family. I guess genetics, and then obviously like situational factors in life. Anything that I've been exposed to that has been traumatic. She is my child, and we were very close. My only child, my daughter, a daughter, woman and woman. So anything that I've been exposed to, she had as well. And when I say that, my sister had committed suicide. My brother passed from a fentanyl overdose. The list goes on. All right. So everything I was exposed to, this played a big part in her anxiety and mine as well. Um, but we were getting through. She was not medicated for anxiety. She never took medication for anxiety. Um, she was in therapy. She was never hospitalized or anything. It was manageable. With that being said, that caused her to be overcautious with a lot of things. Um, One of those things are drugs. She knew, obviously, that my brother had passed from fentanyl. She had a friend, I'm sure she knew many people, but she had a friend or two in high school that also passed away from fentanyl. And there was a distant cousin. There was a lot of people, so she was very scared. A lot of her anxiety was health related anxiety. So when she wouldn't feel good, it would trigger her anxiety. That was like the main thing that would trigger panic attacks and stuff like that. There were rough patches, but around the time she passed, she was, you know, coping with it well. So with that being said, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get to a point. um, she was very scared of drugs.
Yeah,
She
to the
didn't.
point that you would that have to fight her just to get her to take Tylenol when she was sick, right?
Yeah,
You have to put in
I'm so
applesauce
happy.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
you helped me so much just now. Yeah, so that was the point I was getting to. So, yeah, she wouldn't take her vitamins. Like she had to take certain vitamins that she needed her body, and also, so her anxiety would bring on nausea. That was her big trigger, nausea, and then she couldn't eat, and it was a big ordeal even at her age. It was ridiculous. There was times where I lost my patience with her. I'm like, "Come on, like you're 23 years old. Take the vitamin, swallow it with the Sprite, and call it a day. You're gonna be okay." And it was frustrating. It was frustrating. She had a fiance. He would like, when like let's say she was sick and had to take antibiotics, he would like special deliver her applesauce and Sprite. And like I said, I have compassion. I love her, but as a mom, sometimes life is hectic and busy and you get frustrated. So Yes, so much so that things like that were a problem. And her therapist that she saw was well aware of this, and it was an issue for her. And it was an issue a few times in her life, but really the past year to her passing. Okay, so I'm just saying that just so you guys know that this isn't just from me again or her fiance. There's documentation from her therapist in her charts, because that's really what she was seeing a lot of, seeking a lot of therapy for. um so other than that, like I said, Alyssa was terrified of drugs. She would occasionally throughout her life experiment with marijuana, but once fentanyl started going into everything, two things happened. She wouldn't smoke marijuana often because sometimes it would take the reverse effect on her and she would get anxiety from the marijuana. And then, she would go a year maybe and try it again. And I was okay with that. I mean, as long as you're not driving under the influence of marijuana, um, whatever works for you. They legalized it in our state. Um, so anyway, she had gotten scared because fentanyl was in everything. People were putting fentanyl even in marijuana around here. Um, a little restaurant, bar type outdoor place that she would go to often, two people her age smoked a blunt and it had fentanyl and they died. Um, so she was really scared of it. So anyway, she started going, having her fiance, he would smoke marijuana. So he would get it from a dispensary. Okay. But even still, when I tell you it was like once every few months, and just like a very little amount, that was it. Okay. Um, so with that being said, she had met a girl maybe in sixth, seventh grade, a girl named Chase, in her middle school. They it was She was new to the school, so she was partnered with Chase. To my understanding, Chase had a lot of issues with friends at that age, and Alyssa was a new student, so I guess the counselor like had them play together, hang out together, be friends. And that's how she met Chase. Alyssa had eventually went to a different school, and fell out of contact with Chase. Then I want to say around 2020, Chase reached out, maybe 2021. I'm sorry. Chase reached out to Alyssa somehow, um, and they started talking minimally. They had one or two mutual friends. And long story short, and this is everything that I'm telling you tonight. I just want you to know also, I have proof of everything I'm telling you, even these conversations that I'm about to say, because I have read them all. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known. Alyssa was a very organized person and she kept everything. Thank God. And her OCD, I guess, kept everything very organized for me to go through. So anyway, Chase reached out to her, 2021, let's say, and wanted to be her friend because all of her friends have died. Chase's friends. Um, Almost all of them had died from drug overdoses. Alyssa always had a problem having female friends. She had a boatload of boyfriends, female friends. I don't know what it was. Ever since she was little, she'd have a couple, but then they'd start being mean to her. I don't know if it was jealousy, just normal girl behavior. I don't know what it was, but she was desperate for a female friend always. Um, and really during that time, she has sisters, but they were much younger than her. Um, so it was different. So Alyssa became friends with Chase. Um, it wasn't very like best friends until I want to say the year before Alyssa passed. It started very slow and gradual. Alyssa told me about Chase. Alyssa had lived in her own apartment and moved back home during COVID. she Back home with me. She told me she met a female friend. Her name is Chase. She didn't want me to judge her or quote unquote, as Alyssa would say, start my shit. Because I was a helicopter mom, even at her age. And I said, well, why would you say that? She said, she's got face tattoos. She's been in jail. And I'm just like, oh my God, Alyssa, like, what do you mean? And she said, listen, she made mistakes in life. She's, getting her act together. I just want you to give her a chance. Besides that, I'm an adult, you know, and I really didn't have much of a choice because she is an adult and she's going to do what she wants to do. At that point, just had to pray that everything I instilled in her, she would take advantage of and use. However, I was cautious when it came to Chase because of what I heard from Alyssa. So instead of the girls going out all the time or at Chase's house, I would have them in my home so I could see what's going on. Okay. Um, through all the seasons, the holidays, the winter, the summer. So majority of the time, it would be at my home. Um, Speed it up. Chase and her had become best friends. Um, I'm sure I'm leaving a lot out. I will probably go back and add some things and correct them. But anyway, Chase and her had become best friends. During that year, there was multiple times that Alyssa and her would have arguments, which is normal. I wasn't concerned. Um, until a few months before she passed, they were at a local, it's like a bar and a restaurant, has outdoor seating, very country like, in our town. They went there, they had a fight. Alyssa came home crying. She said that Chase had punched her in the face and pushed her down the stairs. Um, I couldn't believe it, and I wasn't really getting many answers out of Alyssa at that time, just that it happened and that she was never talking to her again, that she's crazy. And it was something along the lines of Alyssa had said something to one of their mutual friends about Chase's drug use, not in a nasty way, but more concerning. And Chase lost her shit. Um, Eventually, she forgave her. They became friends again. And then 2 weeks before Alyssa passed away, um, they hung out. It was around April, I think it was like April 18th. Um, the girls had hung out. They had went to a lake. Another girl was there, and she had wanted to go have dinner with her father. Her father and I are not together. We're both remarried. Chase lives in the same town as Alyssa's father. So she wanted to take advantage of that. So she wanted to go have dinner with her father and her sisters. Chase was drunk and high. I know she had alcohol. I don't know what drugs, but I just know that she was high. She got angry. She threatened Alyssa that she was going to beat her up, have her jumped. What the fuck? Why are you leaving me? You're this, you're that, so on and so forth. The other girl was trying to intervene. Alyssa actually had to take off in the woods because it was at a lake, and hide from her. Eventually, she made her way to her father's house. At that time, she called Chase's mom, told her what happened, which she's never done before. Asked for the mom to please drop off her belongings at the father's house because she doesn't want to go back there. Um, the mom had said to Alyssa in text message that I read that Alyssa chooses to hang out with someone like Chase, so this is her fault, which was just mind blowing to me. But the mother dropped off the stuff anyway. Alyssa had got back on the phone with the mother at some point and told the mother that Chase was not only using drugs and drinking, but she was also prostituting herself. That caused Chase to completely lose her mind with Alyssa because that caused Chase to get kicked out of her parents' home. Um, They have a very nice home. She lived with her parents, $1 million home. And it caused her to get kicked out and be homeless. So Chase had a lot of this stuff I didn't know. I had no idea that she was prostituting herself. Alyssa's very open with me, but that's one thing that she did not tell me. I had found this out after she passed, in the text messages, and I did my own research and found public websites with Chase on it. I think she knows that that would have really set me off, and that would have been the end of that. So yeah, so that happened, and then there was text messages, um, that so I think I'm speeding up too much. I think I need to take a break. It's a lot. If I could just take a minute, um, and then
Yeah,
we'll go right into
absolutely.
okay, thank you so much. Do you have any questions about what I've told you so far?
We did have one question so far. Mark Sherman wants to know, was that the first time she was violent to Alyssa, meaning Chase?
So no, that was actually the second time. Would be the April 18th at the lake would be the second time. To my knowledge, that's all I know, unless Alyssa didn't tell me. There was one night where I want to say it was around March. So this was all like leading up, you know, very quickly. Her passing date was May 7th. Um, on April 18th was the incident at the lake. And then I want to say it was a month or two prior to that was the incident at the restaurant where she pushed her and punched her in the face down the stairs. But there was also an incident where I had to call the police on Chase and have her removed from my home because the girls were out front. It was late night and I didn't even know it was my own daughter with Chase. Um, they were towards the road and Chase kept screaming at Alyssa, but again, I didn't know it was her at the time. I'm a piece of shit. I'm a piece of shit. Like, just repeating herself. So I had called the cops because I thought it was like neighbors fighting outside in the street. But no, it was Chase and Alyssa, and Chase was screaming at her those things. And Alyssa told they just, they made Chase leave. And Alyssa told me they had an argument. I shouldn't have called the police, but I didn't know. Like she shouldn't be doing that anyway. So I really didn't feel bad at the time. Um, but unless there's anything more that Alyssa didn't tell me, I don't know. That those are the only instances that I know. But they're more than enough in my book.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you shouldn't feel bad for calling the police. You can, with the
Right.
previous incidents with her, and you can't trust people these days. And being a mom, I mean, your kids are your heart. They come first.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody's screaming and hollering at them and has violent tendencies. No, I'd do the same thing. I'd call the law too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I didn't know it was her at first, but yeah, I would have called even if it was a neighbor. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. It was ridiculous the way she was screaming. But I don't even know what that argument was about. Clearly, with what she was saying, Alyssa might have said to her, like, you're acting like a piece of shit or you are a piece of shit. I don't know what occurred prior to that. Um, but Chase does have a very violent history. Um, she's been arrested for assault. From what I've gathered from many people that she's went to school with and known in adulthood, she has busted out people's car windows. She's got into fistfights with multiple girls, men. Um, I don't know as far as her family goes. So this is the norm for her. Um, Unfortunately.
A pretty extensive police record and history. And
Yeah,
when you know someone when you're young like that, and then usually it's Facebook, Snapchat, one of these things where people reunite from school and things like that.
right.
So you don't really never
Exactly.
know that adult person that they've turned into. Critical,
Right.
thank you so much for being critical. Was a report filed? Were there any instances reported or
No.
a paper trail?
No, Alyssa would not be the type to file a report on anybody. That's more me. Um, Alyssa, again, she was very forgiving person. So, you know, you say you're sorry and Alyssa will give you the benefit of the doubt. And that's with anyone or anything. That's just her personality. That's how she is. It's who she is. So, no, there was nothing there. I'm sure there's a report of some sort for the night Chase came, the night I called the police, but there is, yes, there's a paper trail
Hmm.
because, like I said, all of what I'm stating to you um is all in text messages as well. Alyssa kept every text message between her and Chase and between the mother and Chase and so on. So absolutely there's a paper trail, and everything that I'm saying to you guys I have submitted to the detectives. I have submitted them over 177 emails worth of documentation. Um and they also dumped Alyssa's cell phone and Chase's cell phone. They got warrants for them. I don't know how thorough they went through them. I doubt thorough at all. But even if they didn't, I was thorough and I have sent them everything. So, I guess we'll just go right into the weekend that this occurred. So Alyssa hadn't talked to Chase. Alyssa had been staying home because Chase was her best friend at that time. And she didn't have many other female friends. Like I said, she had a couple guy friends and she was engaged. She had a fiance, but they weren't living together at the time. So she was staying home. We were having great times. I text her, I have messages, even to her saying, I'm proud of you. It was a good thing that you discontinued your relationship with Chase. Um, and everything was good. It was great. On she had stayed home for a couple weeks. So that instance, the last one at the lake, occurred on April 18th. Alyssa decided she wanted to go out for Cinco de Mayo. I think it was on a Friday. Yeah, it landed on a Friday. But she didn't have anyone to go out with. Her fiance had work the next morning. And she said, I'm going to go to the place we go to all the time. I'm just going to go by myself. Maybe I'll run into someone I know. Da 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 da. So she went out. We kept in touch through text message. I'm a night owl, so is she. But we just talk. Hey, everything okay? Love you. I cook this, stuff like that. So she had came home around 2 a.m. Um, No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. She didn't come home. She went with she stopped at one of her friends' house after, and she fell asleep at their house and came home in the morning around, I'm assuming, 7 a.m. And she went back to sleep until around 11 a.m., 12 p.m. Late morning, early afternoon. She woke up, she was on FaceTime with her younger sister. That's not my child. She lives with her father. Um, the sister's around 15. So they were just talking, appropriate conversation, giggling, silly stuff like that. She gets off the FaceTime and she starts telling me about her night. She was like, I was having the worst night of my life. And then it turned into the best night of my life. And I'm like, why? She was like, you're not going to believe it. But I finally did karaoke myself. I was like, you're kidding me. Like, Alyssa will go out, but she's got anxiety. So, that's a big deal for her. And she was like, yeah, I did karaoke for the first time. I had a great night. She was smiling. I'm like, this is great. I had left and went grocery shopping. We're texting back and forth. What do you want to eat? She's telling me all her favorite things to pick up. My dad had fell a few weeks prior. I lived with him and take care of him. He had fractured his back, and he, at the time, I believe, was 87. So I told her we made food. I need a break this weekend. And I believe it was on the phone. She told me, not text message, when I was shopping. She's like, Chase is coming over. And I was like, what? And I said it just like that to her. I'm like, you're kidding. She's like, Mom, we made up. It's okay. Sisters fight. I'm like, yeah, but Alyssa, she's like, Mom, come on. Like, she's sorry. She sent me a long message. Please just don't get into the middle of everything. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, but I don't want any nonsense. I don't want you guys being loud. I need a break. And she was like, okay. And she said to me, don't worry. Honestly, I just want to have a low key night and I want to tan tomorrow because it was like it was spring and it was really warm. She was like, I want to lay out and get some color tomorrow. And I was like, all right, sounds good. So I come home, Chase is already there, and Chase wouldn't look at me. Chase would not look at me. I didn't realize this at the time. I realized this looking back. Okay. But Chase was very always on top of me, like in my face, wanting a relationship with me. She had strained relationship with her parents. And not to be mean, but I have my daughter. Like, I don't want to take any more children under my wings. I have my nieces and nephews that are without their parents now. And she's just not my cup of tea. So I would be kind, I would feed her and stuff like that, but I just didn't want that relationship. So it was just weird. And I did maybe notice it a little bit then, but I thought maybe because she knows that I know what happened or possibly know, and she's embarrassed or something, but she wouldn't look at me. And it was really weird and really telling. So the girls are getting dressed in the bathroom in Alyssa's room together, but they're dressing down. They're not going out anywhere fancy. Alyssa was still in her pajamas and they're doing their hair, wetting their hair. They both have long curly hair, except Chase is just long and straight. So they're putting on pajama pants, sweatpants, type pajama pants, joggers, hoodies. They're wearing Crocs and sneakers, just wetting their hair and putting on minimal makeup. So I'm like, where are you guys going? And they're like, oh, we're just going to go for a walk. It's beautiful out. We're going to go to Dunkin'. I'm like, okay. I seen Chase had a Dunkin' Donuts gift card in her hand. So, I mean, I had no reason to doubt them. It was beautiful. Dunkin' is about a mile away. You have to walk through, the residential area, and go past like a little school, a high school football field, and you're right there. So, um, told them, I'll leave the food out. And they were giggling. Chase actually had to like stretch out the sweatshirt Alyssa wore because it wasn't Alyssa's sweatshirt, it was Chase's. And she's a little smaller than Alyssa. And like she pulled in, Alyssa almost fell backwards and they were laughing and everything seemed fine. Um, they walked out the front door. Um, I have a video posted where I said bye to them at the front door, but I ran over to the bathroom window just joking around. And in the video, you could see Alyssa laughing because I said bye. And she turned around, like slapped her thigh and was laughing, like, oh, Mom, leave me alone. Um, and that was the last time I saw Alyssa.
And guys, if you're not following Melissa on TikTok, Doodle will drop her TikTok in the chat. It's also in the description. She has video after video over there of different information and evidence. And the video that she's talking about of when the girls walked out of the house, comfy pants is what I call them, joggers, pajama bottoms, hoodies, just a very seemed like a normal happy time, like they had actually made up.
Yeah. Also, Alyssa and Chase both had nothing in their possession besides their cell phones. No purse, no bags, nothing. Alyssa on the camera, she has a bottle of Poland Spring water and she has her cell phone. Her cell phone has a case where you could put your license. In that phone, she had a license and a pair of movie tickets I had given her. Um, yeah. So um, that was the last time I saw Alyssa. And then that was around 7:30 p.m. on Saturday night, May 6th. So they had assumingly went to Duncan. I have the proof that they did go. From credit card receipt and other things. So they had went to Duncan, I want to say around 9 p.m. I might be a little off on the times, but it's been, like I said, it's been a while since I told her story. I'm a little rusty. But around 9 p.m., her and we were in touch all night, okay, up until around 12 a.m., whether it be on the phone or text message. So around 9, I had left this food out, and even though it was cooked, I didn't, want them to get sick or anything. So I reached out to her just to see where they were. And she said that her fiance had gotten off work. He was going to come by. They were at the park. They had gotten coladas. And I was like, okay, I'll see you later. Love you. Then around 9:50, she had reached out to me and asked me to cash up her $10. Um, And I said, "Yeah, why?" And she was like, "I wanna go get more coladas. Dunkin' closes at 10. Can you hurry up and send it to me?" And I'm just like, I'm a little annoyed because, at this point, because I had a headache, they weren't home yet, I had the food out, and I had dozed off, and it woke me up. So I just sent her the $10. I'm like, "Okay, I love you, bye." Fell back asleep on the couch. Um, then I wanna say around 11, she calls me back. Yeah, there was about an hour and some change. She calls me and she's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey." I'm like, "Where are you? You woke me up again. What's going on? I got a headache." She's like, "No, we're just hanging out." And she was like, "Yeah, Drew's here." She was like, "We went and had slushies. We picked up some shooters, like those little bottles to put in their slushy. I'm not sure what it was. I think it was vodka. She said she got two shooters, put them in the slushies. They were hanging out at the football field. I think there was a game going with the high school, and the weather was warm. Drew was there. That's her fiance. He was leaving, and I'm like, okay, well, have a good time. I said, listen, I'm not gonna deal with Chase being under the influence, so she can't come here. And she's like, oh no, we're fine. We had a shooter, she's completely fine. I'm like, okay. So we hang up and then she calls me back again. And I'm like, Alyssa, what is it? And she's like, can you pick us up? I'm like, oh, Alyssa. I'm like, listen, you walk there, walk back. I'm cleaning up this food. I left it out, for a long time. It's a mile walk. Um, Walk back. And she's like, fine. And, we hung up and said, I love you. And in my mind, I didn't want to go pick her up. This is something I hold a lot of guilt for. Obviously, if I would have known what was going to occur, I would do anything. Okay, but at the time, I didn't know. She sounded fine. Um, and she's done this before. She'll walk somewhere really far with her friends and ask for a ride. I had a migraine and I don't get them, and it just had me so sick. It was really warm in the house because we didn't have our AC on yet, and I had food to put away. I had to shower yet. But I also figured if Chase was drinking, which again, she abuses alcohol and drugs. Um, if she was drinking or had a little too much at that point, let her walk it off before she comes spend the night at my house because I'm not in the mood for Chase's nonsense. So, we live in a very safe neighborhood. Like I said, it's a mile. So I wasn't concerned. I wind up getting up, doing those things, get in the shower, and they're still not home. And I'm like, what the hell? What's going on? Call her, text her, she's not answering. And I'm like, okay, maybe they went over to the fiance's house because he lives in walking distance of um that football field. So, it wouldn't be foreign for them to do that. And I didn't think they went out anywhere because they were dressed down. So I just assumed that they went to Drew's house. And I wound up getting on the phone with an aunt that I don't normally talk to often. So when we do talk, it turns into hours. So I want to say it was uh I would have to look in my phone, but I finally got a text message at, I believe it was 12:50 a.m. And it said, "I'll text you later. I love you." And I was like, "Okay, she's good." She finally answered, I'm still on the phone with my aunt. Everything's fine. And I just started talking with her, and the time flew by really quick. And again, I'm a night owl. Alyssa is, my aunt is. And we just kept talking. And around 4 a.m., she wasn't home. So I assumed that they were going to sleep at Drew's. And again, it's not out of the norm. They've done that, not often, but they've done it. Uh, so I texted her, I got a really bad headache. Can you please answer me? Just want to make sure you're okay. Called her, nothing. Her phone was still ringing. I called Drew. He didn't answer. But Drew has hearing aids. Okay. Since he was a kid, he doesn't hear anything. So again, I wasn't alarmed because that's the norm. So I stayed up until like 4:36, 4:39. I remember the time. Um, and I just couldn't stay awake anymore and I fell asleep. And I was woken up by my husband around, I don't know, 10, 11, like 11 a.m. in the morning. He was going to get breakfast. And, he told me Alyssa was in their room. And I'm like, yeah, she probably slept at Drew's. Don't get her breakfast. It'll be bad. She's not going to eat it. Um, and we even joked. I said to him, half asleep, I'm like, I guess she had a good night. And he went to go get breakfast and he came back. And when he came back, he walked in the door, was putting everything down, and the police showed up. The police came to the door, and I wasn't even dressed. I had a t-shirt on, no pants. I opened up the door, and I was pissed. I was pissed off because I thought that Alyssa got into trouble from being with Chase. I never would think in a million years that she was passed away, deceased, gone. I opened the door and with an attitude. I don't know if you could hear it in my video or not, but I said, "My daughter?" And he said, "Yes." And I just was like, what the fuck? And Alyssa doesn't get in trouble with the law. Okay. She doesn't have a history like Chase. So I was like, oh, she better not have in my mind. And it happened so quick. And he said, "I'm sorry to inform you, but Somerville PD called us, and apparently your daughter, Alyssa Starrick, passed away." And I was just like, what? I was like, it was like a go, it was like air, just air, like like a tornado or twister just blew me uh, over in me. I can't even describe it, but I was like, what? And he was like, yes, Alyssa Starrick And I was like, I just nodded my head, and he like led me up my stairs in my home. And I hope that nobody listening or on panel ever has to feel that. I just need a second, okay?
No, you're fine. You take a second. And thank you guys all for being so respectful in chat. Thank you for sending all the love and prayers and strength. I appreciate everybody that's here from our community. I appreciate everybody that's here to support Melissa. Thank you guys so very much. This is a very important story that needs to be put out there to light. We need to help this mama. Arctic and Doodle are both dropping phone numbers, PO boxes. There's email addresses. There's websites. Please do what you do, guys. This is a call to action. Once we get into what happened, you guys will understand why I'm asking you from the bottom of my heart to please reach out to these officials and let them know that you, as a community, as a citizen, demand justice, demand a real investigation, to hand this investigation over to the state police.
Thank you.
Arctic?
Light their ass up. Call them, demand that they do a real fucking investigation, because so far they haven't done anything. They tried to say that this girl who never used drugs, that had a phobia of drugs, died of a drug overdose. When they found that there was nothing in her system, then they claimed that she died of natural causes. A 23-year-old girl died of natural causes. Give me a fucking break.
So, so they came in. I'm sorry, I wind up talking a lot, and I just want everyone to know every piece. That's why I give so much information. So they came in, one officer told me my daughter passed away. I immediately thought he was talking about Chase. I was in denial. I said, "You got the wrong house. Chase passed away." You're like, no, this is wrong. You're making a mistake, and you're gonna be in trouble because you're telling the wrong parent. I believe that for like a good 5-10 minutes. Reality hit, and I was willing then to listen to what he was saying, and he just kept saying that your daughter died of a drug overdose. She apparently was at a gentleman's house with Chase, and she died of a drug overdose. And I said, "Who's this guy? Why was she there? Like, what are you talking about? And what do you mean drugs?" I mean, that's why I gave all of you this history about Alyssa, because no, no way, you know? So he said to me that, and listen, he was respectful. He was relaying messages. He was North Brunswick police officer. He was relaying the information from Somerville. Okay, that's where the problem is. So he's like, all I heard, ma'am, was that she was at a house for a threesome and died of a drug overdose. Well, paramedics came for me and my dad, and eventually they all left. Eventually, that's what happens. They can't stay here forever, and they left. And I was left with a fucking phone number, okay, for a municipal detective. Get him on the phone, and that's what he said to me. And I couldn't keep him on the phone any longer, you know. I had a million questions, but at that time he couldn't answer any. I wanted to see my daughter. They told me that her body was already taken to Newark Regional Medical Examiner's office, which I found out later that wasn't true. Her body was still in the apartment for many hours after she was discovered. Um, and I sat there. I sat there with my husband, with my boss. We're good friends. I called her immediately, got my dad situated. He had questions that I didn't even know what was going on, you know? Um, so I sat there with what he left me, and it was an immediate no. An immediate no. Immediate hard no, big no, no way. Alyssa was engaged. Okay. Alyssa was engaged. She also wasn't sexually active with her fiance at the time. She had been sexually active before, but she was not sexually active with him at the time for her own reasons. Okay. Alyssa's had 3 boyfriends, or 2 or 3 boyfriends her whole life. They were all thin Caucasian men. Okay. Very slim Caucasian men. That is her type. Okay. The gentleman that they said she was having a threesome with was a heavy-set black male. Alyssa had a phobia of drugs. Okay. She couldn't die from drugs. She had a phobia of drugs. And I sat there and I fucking danced with everything. In my head, I took myself out of being her mother and I had to think quick and I had to figure out what the fuck happened to my daughter. I couldn't cry. I couldn't do anything. I had to figure out what has happened to my daughter. And I I sat there and I tried to be fair and I say, "You know what? Maybe. Maybe she was hanging out with fucking Chase." I'm sorry for my language, but
No, you go ahead. This, like I said, you don't have to be filtered over here. You let it
okay.
all out. This
Girl,
is.
they've heard a whole lot
Thank you.
worse out of my
Okay.
I
mouth.
was gonna say the two of us on panel,
Thank you.
we're being have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting angry now at this point. It's just taking me back to all these emotions. I've been sad, angry already. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, Maybe because she was hanging out with Chase, she decided to try drugs." I was fair about everything. I looked at it outside. I'm not a detective, I don't know how to look at things, but I fucking tried. I said to myself, well, maybe she tried drugs. Maybe she tried them and it killed her because she has no tolerance for drugs. I even said maybe she wanted to try a different type of man. Okay, maybe people change their preference. I've dated all around, I've dated multiple races. Um, I tried to be fair, but nothing. This was around 1 in the afternoon. They came. Okay, I sat with this until around 11 p.m. and just drove myself crazy. And I'm like, no, like this, it's still not making sense. Um, but I tried to be fair. Okay. Well, as those hours go on, Chase, the one who's up my ass all the time, her best friend has died, right? Not a fucking phone call. Nothing. My phone is silent. So I start calling her after a few hours over and over and over again. Nothing. That was another huge red flag. I mean, this is your best friend. You've been in my house, you've eaten my food, you sleep over, you've cried to me, everything. Like, why are you picking up the fucking phone? So, um, that was a red flag. I didn't have Alyssa's phone at the time. The police had it, so I couldn't go through her phone. Um, I had her iPad. I had recently given her an iPad, but I wasn't even over there at that point yet. I haven't even touched the iPad. And I'm just like fucking lost, like just lost and confused. Well, finally Chase calls me and thank God I recorded it. Because the police told me the detective that night, it was a municipal detective only, okay? He told me drug overdose, that's it. Okay? No investigation, no nothing. So I'm just like, what the fuck is happening in this world? Like, what is this? What, like, you can't imagine. Okay. So finally, that girl, Chase, calls my phone, and thank God I recorded it. And again, all of this is posted. So she calls me and she says, and it makes sense. Okay. She said that it was this guy, Bryce, that she was friends with, and he was putting pills in their mouth, not just Alyssa, both of their mouths. Now I know Chase uses drugs, so that would explain to me why Chase didn't die. She has a tolerance. And there's fentanyl and everything. You know what I mean? I'm sure that she even has a tolerance to fentanyl, and I'm a little educated when it comes to it because of my brother. So that's making sense. You know what I mean? This guy Bryce, like I don't even know who the fuck he is. It's about 45 minutes away from my home. Um, I'm sorry, a cat just walked past me. Um, and yeah, it's just making sense. She's like, he was putting bars in our mouth. Well, what color were they? I need to know. They were this color, that color. He just kept putting them in our mouths. And then she got quiet. She was whispering. She said she couldn't go home. Her parents were fucking disgusted with her. I recorded the call. I called her parents' house. I finally got the number to them as well. Her father said to me, "Don't believe anything she says. Call the fucking police." Um, he said, quote unquote, "Call the fucking police. She's a fucking liar." So I called the police. No one was in at the time. Had to wait, till a detective came in. Um, that is what prompted an investigation. Otherwise, there would have been no investigation at all. It prompted an investigation for not a homicide, but for a suspicious death through the county at that time. Um, in those hours and days passing, this is where my timeline is just not as fresh. Um, I had done a lot of research. I found out who Bryce was, who his girlfriend was, where he lives. I found out their friends' names, their numbers. I found out fucking everything. Just through Google and Alyssa's iPad. What I could retrieve on the iPad because it was newly connected. So not everything was there. Um, Immediately I ran searches on Chase and Bryce with their background. Okay. His was disturbing. I want to also let you guys know his current age. He's much older than the girls. Okay. Alyssa would be right now 25. Chase is about to be 26. Bryce is about to be 32. So he's significantly older than them, but not an alarming, amount of years. I found out with his, and this isn't superior record. This is only like municipal stuff that I could access in my state. I didn't know how to access further. They've both been arrested for drugs, um, eluding police, assault. She was arrested for burglary. The list goes on and on. But what scared me is that he was arrested for rape, sexual assault. Um, so I didn't know about anything. All I saw was sexual assault. So immediately I called the detectives and told them, okay, I called the municipal detective and the county detective and also the county detective's sergeant. Okay. His name is Sergeant Dockery. And I said, listen, um, he's been arrested for sexual assault, rape. Do me a favor, please. I don't care, w- you know, make sure she's checked for rape. Um, he was like, I don't see where he's been arrested for rape. And that's where I lost hope. I lost all hope right then and there. Um, because why am I able to see he's been arrested for rape? And why are you, the one that's supposed to be the boss of the people investigating my daughter's death, not see it? So while we were on the phone, I fucking sent it to him. And, he shut up and he reassured me that Alyssa would be checked thoroughly for rape. Can I just take a second and answer some
Yeah.
questions or okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we had a handful of questions here.
Okay.
Farmer asks, can the state police investigate upon request or is it protocol nuisance against departments? So the state police, that's why we have a petition. If you haven't already, please sign the petition. You get enough signatures on that petition, it can be taken up to get the state police to take over because guys are listening and hearing that this was not a thorough investigation. Before an investigation was even done, this mother was told that her daughter had a drug overdose when this child never used drugs in her life, smoked a little bit of weed. Probably 90% of us in this chat have smoked a little bit of weed here and there.
Hmm.
But like Melissa was explaining, you can't buy weed from people you don't trust and
Hey,
you
one.
don't know and still side eye those people because
Mhm.
you don't know where they're getting it from. And they're putting fentanyl on weed, as sad as it is in the world we live in today. Um, it is dehumanizing, and the perps shouldn't they get more. It's insane. That just infuriates me how families are treated and how these perpetrators are treated, and a slap on the hand. You know, and the rape charges that this guy had, and I'm just going to bring a little bit of context to this as well. This guy was a well-known drug dealer. We're not talking about like your church boy type person. This guy had an extensive record along with Chase as well. And Chris
Well,
says
and his
Melissa.
sexual assault charge correct me if I'm wrong, but that was for sexually assaulting a 65-year-old mother of one of his friends. Isn't that right?
That's
Mhm.
correct. So I'll just pick up again from there. So I had started, doing my own research and calling these young people and recording and praying and hoping, someone would slip and trying to befriend them, to get answers. And it was a lot of work, to try to make them feel comfortable. But so I found out, I knew there was rape, but I didn't know of who or what. Okay. And I found out from his best friend he hangs out with, that he had just sold marijuana to, like within days, that it was a 65-year-old woman. It was his friend's mother, um, that he was charged with this rape of her. So he had been in jail for a year on those rape charges for her. This is just one thing that he's done, but this is the most alarming. Um, the woman was so psychologically fucked up that when it came time to trial, she couldn't handle it. She couldn't take it. That's what his friend said. And then I don't know what they did in the court system, but he was released. He spent a year in county for that. It's a real charge. It's public. He hasn't actually he has denied it, that he didn't do it. Um, I had I had talked to a lot of their friends. This boy in particular that told me this is his friend. I'm sure he's a piece of crap too, but he did give statements. He said that he believed that Bryce had some involvement with whatever has occurred with Alyssa. I talked to many other people. Um, I had found, now it gets a little messy. I found text messages, okay? So I know it's hard to keep up, but there was Alyssa, my daughter, and the two people were Bryce and Chase. Okay. The I Bryce has a girlfriend, a long-term girlfriend. She was she was on vacation when this occurred in their one-bedroom apartment. Um, Now Bryce and Chase have an intimate relationship along with a drug relationship. Okay. It's almost like he's obsessed with her and she uses him for drugs, sex, and anything, where he has a lot of feelings towards her. There's another girl, Amber, that's minimally involved, okay, where Amber comes into play. Um, Alyssa, Chase and Amber, I found text messages, sent them to the police. They had a conversation about Alyssa after the April 18th incident, where they're saying to each other, quote, when I close my eyes, I picture Alyssa's mangled face. Uh, she's gonna die alone. I can't wait to drag her. That was between Amber and Chase. Okay. Everything was sent over. Then I get Amber on the phone. She apologized for saying those things. She talked. She brought another girl on the line. Her name was Allison. Um, Allison, I have a recording of her. She was also allegedly raped by Bryce, from what she told me, and this was sent to the detectives, and she reached out to the detectives as well. She was 17 at the time. She was raped by Bryce, and her mother had taken her to the police station. But what happened was, she did a rape kit in the hospital. She had got into a car accident a couple days later and was ejected from the car, and she was inpatient in the hospital for about 6 months. And she healed, she's well, but she never followed through with the charges. She let it go. um there was also another girl I have yet to get in contact with because I can't make out her full name from what they've told me on the recordings. All I know is the first name is Emily. Supposedly she was also raped by Bryce. Two more girls came forward a couple months ago. One of them was sexually assaulted by Bryce as well. They were both underage at the time. They lived with him. He was feeding them drugs and alcohol. She was, assaulted by him, and she actually said within this past year now that he had went under a fake account trying to obtain nude photos from her, but she was able to find out with some kind of program online that she has that it was him. He's been arrested recently this year for lewdness. I don't know what that pertains to. He has an extensive history. There's not a doubt in my mind that all of these girls are telling the truth. And I didn't even need all this. I didn't even need all this. I mean, the first charge and the confirmation that my daughter would be checked for rape should have been enough. Um, so there was a lot more stuff that came out. Uh, God, let's see. So this is again where my timeline gets a little messed up. So finally, going back and forth with these detectives, they really don't care. You could tell they don't care. They pretty much assume like this is going to be drugs. I didn't know what to think. Finally, her autopsy comes back first. I believe it was her autopsy came back first. Long story short, she was healthy inside and out. There was nothing wrong with her. Supposedly, there wasn't an abrasion. There was only one abrasion on her. It was a small right focal contusion, circular, right above her ear, on her hairline, less than an inch. So they said that toxicology then came back. I don't remember at that point. I think the death certificate was left just open at that time, and we had to get a new death certificate. Toxicology took a long time. There's a big backlog, big problems in Jersey with where the medical examiner is and all that shit. Took about 5 months. Toxicology finally comes back. Alyssa had no drugs in her system at all. Nothing, not even marijuana, which was confusing to me because I know that she smoked a little marijuana a few weeks before her passing. So I was a little alarmed by that. But we're on the phone and he calls me and he's like, Melissa, you were right. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he was like, she did not die from drugs. I'm like, well, what did she die from? He was like, I think she died from alcohol. And I'm like, what? So we're going over this toxicology and autopsy, and he's saying that she had no drugs in her system. I'm like, well, where's the marijuana? Could there be an error? Like, and he's like, no, these people do this all the time. There's no drugs in her system. However, she has alcohol in her system, and like a crazy amount. I'm like, okay, well, what was it? And how do you die from alcohol? Like, did she throw up and choke, or? He's like, her alcohol was her BAC. She died natural, um, and her BAC was a 0.421. I didn't know what that meant at the time. So I was left
That
with that.
that's extremely high
Right.
because I almost died of alcohol poisoning, and mine was 0.367 when they checked mine at the time. So
Right. Well, I'm very happy that you didn't. I used to drink maybe once or twice a year, but I had to learn all of this, okay? But what I did know at the time, still something was very wrong, okay? And I'll tell you why. Alyssa was a drinker. She didn't do drugs, she drank. Alyssa was, I mean, she's so predictable with anything that she did. She would have a couple drinks, whether it be wine or mixed drinks or a shot or a beer, whatever it was that she would drink, okay? She could handle maybe two or three. And this is from what I've seen, all of her friends. I've even talked to a bartender. I've tried to do my research, okay? Alyssa, like clockwork, would have a couple drinks. Her stomach could not handle it. She always had nausea problems. Alyssa had gastritis. So, she couldn't take alcohol and spicy foods and, she would try, you know what I mean? She'd try with the sriracha sauce and alcohol, but it just wouldn't work for her. So what would happen like clockwork is Alyssa, um, I'm sorry, someone's pulling up to my house. Alyssa would have a couple drinks, puke, and go to bed. That is Alyssa. And I confirmed with everyone too, and I had to look and learn how much alcohol is that. You know what I mean? Like, so the autopsy, I talked to the medical examiner, right? The autopsy, she did not throw up. She did not choke and she did not throw up. Um, but when I got the autopsy back, um, she didn't, nobody ever checked her for rape. Nobody checked her for rape. Nobody did a DNA test. Nobody did a swab. And I said, why? I talked to them. I had to search out. I called and called the medical examiner over and over again for specific questions on everything. Never got a call back, never got answers from all these places. Finally had to find her on Facebook and beg for her to answer me. So I have all the proof of the messages of that. She said to me that she only did a visual exam of Alyssa. They did not do a rape kit. And I said, why? Why not? With his history and everything. Well, she says, the medical examiner, that the reason she didn't was because she was never informed by the police that she had to. So
It should be
at that point,
standard. That
you
should have
would
been
think
standard,
so.
the way that she
Well,
was found with his history.
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And that's the problem. So, but how would they know? They didn't even know his fucking history upon arrival. I had to tell them his history. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So they were ready just to bag her up and take it as an OD. Well, at that point, I lose it. Well, from there, I start doing more research about how much with her body weight would it be to consume that much alcohol and cause that. I might be a little off, but they told me something around 25 drinks in an hour. I could be a little wrong. There's no way. There is no way possible my daughter could do that. I'm not a mother in denial. Um, I sat and tried to figure out everything. I thought maybe there's things called alcohol. There's he could have made his own alcohol. I mean, I tried looking into everything, okay? So, but at that point, I was almost accepting of what had occurred until I got the body cam footage. So they had opened the case, obviously, closed it out after toxicology came back. Didn't care about the rape results or anything like that. Told me pretty much fly a kite. Um, and they closed the case. Well, I retrieved the body cam footage and I thank God that I watched it no matter how hard it is. I watched it and that's where a lot of the problems came into play. I'm gonna speed it up because I don't want to keep you guys all night. I feel terrible. Um,
No, don't feel bad. You take your time. We're here for you. No rush at all. It's Friday night. You take your time.
all right, so the first thing I see on the body cam footage is the municipal PD entering. Um, they they did not they did okay. They enter. Um, First, I got the 911 call. I'm sorry. First, I retrieved the 911 call. And the 911 call, you could hear Bryce calling in the call. Per the medical examiner, Alyssa passed away around 2 a.m. They did not call 911 until 11:30 a.m. Okay. That was one. On the 911 call, you could hear Bryce and Chase. Bryce makes the call. Chase wants to open the door for the police, and he quote says, "The fuck you will." Like, no, you're not going to open it. I'll open it. That was the first red flag. Then on the body cam footage, I was never told these things. But on the body cam footage, they go in and Alyssa is on the floor in his bedroom. Alyssa, now it's proven that Alyssa took an Uber with Chase to his apartment and arrived at his apartment at 12:30 a.m. and she was passed away by 2 a.m. Okay. Um, she was in her clothes because there's Snapchat video of her where she's leaving to get into that Uber. She was in her clothes. She had no other clothes. So, um, obviously, once she's passed away, when they came there, she was not in her clothes. She did not have her sweatshirt, her undershirt, her pajama pants, her socks, her shoes, her necklace. All of it was her underwear. Even her underwear were gone. Only she had on pants. Alyssa was a size medium. Okay. She had a pair of his 3X pants halfway pulled up her body as she laid on the floor. There were no clothes in sight. Okay. None of her clothes. None of them were in sight on that body cam footage, nor did they even attempt to retrieve them. Her cell phone laid in the living room between his legs on the floor. Um, there was a pill under her body, placed under her body. Okay. And it's clear it was placed because there were no drugs in my daughter's system. A Xanax pill. I asked them to fingerprint it. They never fingerprinted it. They said they can't. It was placed under her body to make it look like she had a drug overdose. They allowed the mother of Bryce to come on scene for the whole time. She didn't live there. They just allowed her to come on in. They allowed Bryce and Chase to both leave the scene 2 times for 30 minutes each time. Chase was highly under the influence of God knows what. I believe it was drugs, and I believe it was Xanax, and alcohol. They allowed Bryce to consume marijuana and drink during the interview as well. Chase was so high and drunk, she was falling over the place. She was dancing. She tried sitting next to Alyssa on the floor. She kept saying she's not dead. Like it was fucking crazy. They never retrieved. Bryce had ring cameras inside of his home and outside of his home, both. They never retrieved the ring camera footage to see exactly what occurred that night. Um, Another person came forward. It was his girlfriend's friend. She claims that Bryce knew Alyssa was dead around 6:30 a.m., but no one called till 11:30 a.m. Because the girlfriend called her and told her. They never retrieved Bryce's cell phone to dump his cell phone. And he had 2 phones. Oh my God, the list goes
And they
on. They
let
never.
her sit there long enough without calling for
Uh-huh.
help that rigor mortis had set in on her before law
Yes.
enforcement ever arrived at the scene.
Yep, she was in. They yelled out rigor. As soon as they went up to her, they never even put the EKG machine on her. They just called rigor, and that was it. Um, they never interviewed the Uber driver. There was a text message between Bryce and Chase, stating, "I need help with Alyssa." That could have meant anything, okay? But I wanted the Uber driver interviewed. They sometimes they have cameras. They never interviewed him. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. The way Alyssa's body was positioned on, he had box springs and a mattress on the floor. The mattress was moved about like 2 feet off the box spring, as if someone dragged her over to the bed. You know what I mean? Because it's dead weight. Also, on the cop cam footage, which caused the investigation to be reopened, Chase openly admits to the municipal PD that Alyssa wanted to go to the hospital 2 times and they told her no. Um, I'm sure I'm forgetting so many things, but that is what caused the case to be reopened. Okay. And it was reopened and then it was closed again with no answers at all. The only thing that I was told is that we are not going to rape kit Alyssa. there's no reason to. Bryce said that they were there for a threesome, so we believe him, and there's no need for it. We're not going to exhume her. That will be under your responsibility. We're not going to investigate. They told me that they can't bring Bryce in. He refused to speak from day one, that they cannot interrogate him. It's not like TV. Um, they can't take his phone. They can only interview him only if he's willing to. Chase has changed her story multiple times. It's just been hell. It's been hell. And I'm sure, again, I'm leaving things out. They did not treat the scene like a crime scene. They let, like I said, they let people in. They never closed anything off. They never obtained anything. They looked at her like a piece of shit, like she was one of them, and it was a drug overdose. And that was it. And here I am.
So, guys, what I'm going to ask all of you to do, you see all the numbers I'm dropping in chat? You see all the links to the agencies? Do your thing. Blow their ass up. Go sign that petition that's in the chat to demand that the state police do a real investigation, because what these people have done is a dereliction of duty, in my opinion. No rape kit, even though this man had charges for raping a 65-year-old woman. What the fuck? You know?
And, another thing that I'm remembering now also is that she was, her body laid there for 8 hours. Okay. She had no urine or feces on her body when they picked up Alyssa. I asked the medical examiner. I know not everyone defecates or urinates. However, how is that possible when she, just alone with the alcohol, supposedly had taken in that much alcohol, right? You would think that the bladder would expel throughout all that time. I'm sure it absorbs, but nothing. No urine, no feces. She was squeaky clean. No clothing to be found, not even her underwear.
Well, that may
Um,
be part of the reason why they maybe cleaned her up and put her
exactly.
in his pants, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Um, there was something else too that was important that I'm forgetting. Oh, yeah, so another thing that was really important is that he posts everything online. Both of them do, because they're just careless criminals, in my opinion. Okay. Any videos that I've obtained, I have to be careful with what I post, because I don't want to get a lawsuit from these pieces of shit when I'm trying to pursue, right? But I have found 3 videos. I think I've posted 2 of them where he is, in one video, it's Chase pouring alcohol down his mouth. Another video is him taking videos of different people in his apartment that are passed out, completely wasted. Okay. And I mean, isn't that a red flag? You know, and it's not just one person, there was like 3 people, and he just videotapes them. Um, the girls that have come forward about the rape, one of them said that, if she went in his phone, one of his old phones he had given her, there's countless videos of him having intercourse with women, and she doesn't think that these women know. You could, she's assuming, and I don't know, but what could be in those phones? It's just, we could have had a lot of answers if they just obtained the ring camera footage. They could have easily gotten a warrant to obtain that ring camera footage, and I could have had all the answers I ever needed, and so could they. And they never did that. Um, they never did anything. I don't know anything that they've done, really. I mean, they also refused to give me the case file. They said once the investigation is closed, both times they won't release the case file to me. Um, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember everything.
So now, is the investigation completely closed? Because if it is, then
Yes.
you can FOIA the case files and they can't
Well,
stop you from doing that.
right. So now It is completely closed. Like I said, it was open, closed, open, closed. So yes, I could FOIA it. I actually emailed him to ask him, about FOIAing it, and he said, "Oh, I have no knowledge about that. You're gonna have to figure that out." Um, so the only thing is, he did tell me that a lot of stuff won't be in the case file for records. Now, I never FOIA'd it because I already know everything I've submitted. You know what I mean? They outright told me that they never dumped his phone, they never did this, they never did that. So what am I FOIAing? You know? What am I FOIAing? Just a bunch of bullshit. I did FOIA the municipal, um, and it was bare. There was like nothing in it. It was a joke. Um, they've made errors. They've called my phone on accident when they're supposed to be calling Chase's phone. They've released the 911 audio to me during times where they weren't supposed to during the investigation. It's a fucking mess. It's a mess. And it took a long time. People don't understand. Well, this is, however long since she passed. Number one, this is my daughter. I don't care if it's till the day I die, but it took time. It took a good 5 months to get toxicology and autopsy. It took almost a year to get the cop cam footage. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't obtain any of that during the investigation. So this is still all very brand new to me, and I had to take a break. I had to take a mental break because if I die from cardiac or stress, I'm going to be of no use to my daughter. So I pulled back for a few months. Um, and here I am, here I am. And I need help. I need help because they don't care about me. They don't care about just me. They shit all over me. They will continue to. I need help from the public applying the heat to them because that's what's going to make them move.
And guys,
Um,
that's what I want you to do. I want you to apply some pressure. You go on their websites, you go on their Facebook, you blow up their phone lines. But we need to get the state police to do a real investigation into this. Now, how much evidence has been lost because that ring camera footage isn't available at this point,
right.
and
Exactly.
it's just so frustrating. And we see this happen in case after case after case.
Yeah. And this is my child. This is my child. This is my only child. This not only is my child, but this was a valuable, um, person to the world, to the community.
I'll
And
tell you, there's no denying she's your child. She looks just like you.
thank you so
She's
much.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of people say that she's beautiful, but if you knew her inside, it exceeded her external beauty. Um, and I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of that. And I miss her very much. And it's been hell. And she deserves more. Forget me. Forget me. This could be
Well,
any of our children.
absolutely.
Any. And it's not
Absolutely.
fair. It's not
Well,
fair and it's not right.
I know that this has been extremely hard for you to talk about. What I like to do when we bring a mother or a family on panel and they're having to talk about the worst possible thing that's ever happened, tell us one of your happiest memories of you and your daughter.
Oh my God. My happiest memories of her are we would spend every summer down the Jersey Shore in Wildwood. She loved it. Um, she loved it. I loved it. It was our closest times together. There's a song, it's a silly song, but she would call it the Wildwood song. Um, her laugh, her laugh was just very goofy. She had a great sense of humor. Um, every time was a good time and a good memory now, you know? Um, her smile, I had her at 17 years old. So I grew up with her, it was hard. It was really hard. And she was my daughter, but she was also my best friend. We were there for each other. She was my go-to person. I was her go-to person. outside of our friends. She was my reason. She got me through everything that I faced in life before her passing. She deserved so much more. She wanted to live. She wanted to experience. She wanted so much to live and experience. She was brave. She's done more in 23 years than I've done in 43.
She
um,
sounds like quite an amazing young lady, is what she sounds like, and
yeah,
there's no words to express how much we feel for you and what you're going through right now. But I do want you to know that we are all standing as an army behind you, and we're not going to let this just die with this one live stream. Anytime you want to come back on here and tell us where things are, or just to
yes.
retell the story, you have an open invitation. I know Mom would have you back. I would have you on my channel. I know Doodlebug in the chat would have you on her channel. We're a team. We all work together. Mom, do you think that there's anything Mr. Steve could help her with in this?
I've already reached out to Mr. Steve and I provided Melissa with Mr. Steve's email address. He's got 6 cases right now, but he will do whatever he can to help. I spoke to him
Right?
yesterday.
You guys are truly a
He
blessing. I've
Mr.
I've
Steve is
already
amazing, Melissa. Everybody on this
okay.
panel will tell you that man is an amazing human being. I've known him pretty much since I started doing this. Like I said, he's a retired homicide detective. He started a foundation. He travels all over the United States, so he stays busy. But
Right.
he is aware that you're going to reach out to him, and I went ahead and gave him a heads up and let him know, hey, I'm the one that sent her to you. Please
Okay.
help her. So
Thank
he's
you. I
expecting
need
you
it.
to get a hold of him, and this is a great chat. And I have a great community, and Duchess is in here too. Duchess is another one that is an amazing human being, and she does so much for families missing, murdered, unsolved. Like I said, there's a small group of us, but the small circle that we are as a team, we have great communities that are all different communities, and we pull together. And this is what we do is they are great. They will reach out, we will reach out, we will do all the things, um, whatever it takes to get you justice. This is such a failure
It
to
is.
Alyssa. It's an
It
absolute
is.
failure to Alyssa, to you, to the community. How many other families have they just said, "Oh, it was a drug overdose," signed off, closed the case. God
Right.
forbid we do our jobs and actually investigate. There was cameras in his home that
Yes,
didn't
it
get
was in
pulled. Like
I know.
that Tamara
I know.
says, speak on the camera in Bryce's house how many hours that she lay before they passed away, and you can't get answers from an Uber driver. Like,
Yeah,
a mother
I
should
know it's
never have to
crazy.
go through this. No family should have to go through this.
No.
But what we see so many times is with these sorry ass police departments, and I back the blue when they deserve it. I'm going to call them out when they don't. And that's part of what
Right.
we do too. And it's infuriating how a mother and a father and these family members have to turn into their own detectives. And as many of you guys that have sat here and listened, Melissa has been her own detective. And
It's
granted, some of your
exhausting.
best detectives are moms, but you shouldn't have to grieve. Go on with life. Take care of an elderly father. You have a husband. You have your own life that you're still trying to go forward and still trying to have that piece of normality, even though a piece of you was taken away, stolen from you.
Yeah. My whole being has been stolen from me. And that's one thing that I'm angry about. I'm sorry. Is that I have not been able to grieve properly because of this. They have prevented me from grieving because I've been so consumed with researching and trying to figure things out and phone calls and recording and reading and demanding and emailing, and it's not right. Um Another thing that I forgot to tell you guys was that they didn't even any suspicious death, unattended death, especially with a female her age, should be treated as a homicide. Okay. Not a homicide. Well, it should be investigated like a homicide would be. They didn't even do that. They didn't even have a detective on scene where she laid. Nothing. Nothing. They had a couple
No,
police officers.
and they're letting one of the people that is a suspect and his mother trample through the potential crime scene.
Yeah,
I mean, it,
it's crazy.
it's irritating, and like I said, my heart goes out to you. I mean, when we're going to stand behind you, we're going to not let this die. I'm going to send this off to some of my media contacts, see if I can get some of them to pick the story up. So,
Thank you. And I will provide anything that you guys need, any messages, videos, paperwork, autopsy papers, videos of the body cam footage, so you can see all of this yourselves as well. Um, another thing Bryce did say too in the cop cam footage was that he watched Alyssa turn blue, starting from her head to her chest. It doesn't go that fast. You know what I mean? He also admit on the cop cam footage he waited hours before calling 911. Like, there was just so many errors, and this could have been so easily taken care of. And now I do have to worry about evidence that's gone. And they need to be held responsible, the two parties involved, and also the detectives and the municipal PD that's handled this. They all need to be held responsible. That clothing is long gone. They moved out of that apartment like a week later too. I mean, I'm sure it was gone within the hours of her passing, but there is still a lot that can be done. Um, so I need help, and I appreciate all of you in the panel and the chat. I'm sorry I haven't read any comments. You could pick me up anywhere, you could DM me. I'll provide, but the most important thing that I need is not a donation. It's Yes, I appreciate the prayers, I appreciate the donations and everything like that, but what I need is a community that's going to apply the heat to them. I can't express that enough. Please don't be scared to call, email. Please, I'm begging you, do that, because that's going to help more than anything.
Yep. And all the contact information that's been dropped in the chat will also be in the description on this video. So if you came in late or you're on replay crew, check the description so you can also be a voice for Alyssa and Melissa and reach out to these officials. Reach out to them. Also reach out to the radio station that was dropped in the chat. Critical is a local to the area that helps with a lot of families, and he advised that NJ 101.5 radio station will also pick up the case since it's been closed, and they'll also put on some pressure as well. Reach out to them. That I will put their website in the description on the video as well. We need to be a voice, guys. We need to stand and make a stand and make ourselves be heard so we can get justice for Alyssa.
Yes, and that's what I want. And I mean, I appreciate you guys again over and over again, because I wouldn't get any help without people like you. Um, you don't know how much it means to me. And just can say thank you over and over again. There's not much that I have to offer besides my thanks.
well, I
But
mean, it's what we do. There's no thanks necessary, and we appreciate you trusting us with your daughter's story and trusting us to come on panel with, because Lord knows there's a lot of creators out there that would, yeah.
I've already come across it. I have come across it terribly. And that was one of the first things I talked about with mom up here, when she reached out to me, that I want to avoid at all costs. But yes, I do trust you guys, and I appreciate you immensely. And the chat,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the public that's going to make this go anywhere. And yes, I want justice for Alyssa, but I don't want any of you to go through this either. So it's got to start somewhere, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we and like Arctic said, we're honored for you to trust us, and everybody that I sent you information for, myself, Arctic, Kimber, Doodle, Duchess, Mr. Steve at True Crime Web, all credible people. Southern Gal True Crime is another creator that's here in the chat. She does amazing work as well. You know, we we're here for the right reasons, and sadly, you have gone through that other side of the
Yeah.
true crime community. And I said, we're not true crime. We are considered real crimes because these aren't true crime stories on Oxygen. These aren't documentaries on Netflix or a movie that you're watching. This is a real life, a real family with real feelings and real pain,
Yeah.
and a real law enforcement and prosecutor's office and
Yeah.
medical examiner that all need to be held accountable for dropping the ball and not doing their job. No rape kit was done. Immediately before an investigation was deemed an overdose. Didn't have drugs in her body. Natural causes, my ass. That will have that level of alcohol in her body, that's not a natural cause.
Yeah. I
A
know.
natural cause is heart, lungs, brain, not a massive
Right.
amount of alcohol.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I need to know also, how did she get all of that alcohol into her body? Bryce has messaged me strange text messages. I mean, like, I left out a lot with you guys tonight. I'm trying to cover everything. I've been emotional and anxiety, so I just tried to stay focused and talk my way through this interview. But he sent me strange messages saying, I didn't inject your daughter. Why would you say that? Like, it makes no sense. Like, weird things like that. I don't understand. I just don't understand. And I need to know.
And the
Um,
sad thing is given how shit job of an investigation was done, I don't know that we can trust that the medical examiner checked for any type of injection sites on Alyssa.
right. So I was always wondering how long an autopsy would take. Her autopsy did take 45 minutes. Um, One thing that I have not done is obtain the autopsy photos. I just don't think that I can see them. But actually recently I've been dancing with the thought of possibly obtaining them because I live with her, I know her body. I mean, she's a young girl, she takes videos all the time. Alyssa lived in a bathing suit. Alyssa constantly was in a bathing suit or shorts. So I would see her body, her legs, her arms, her stomach. I mean, I know her pretty well. Anything could occur. But there was also, like I said, there was a small circular um mark on her skull. That was another thing I wondered because Chase had rings on her hand, that would align with, and they were big, gaudy rings, that could make an imprint of that. Like, where did she get that damage done to her head? I mean, I have a lot of questions, and unfortunately, none have been answered. None.
Yeah, and guys, this brass guy,
Mm,
like one of the videos that's on Melissa's TikTok, let me tell you, if I was to call it disturbing,
yeah,
that wouldn't measure to this video. And I'm not going to pull those up while Melissa's on panel. We don't want to cause her any more pain than what she's going through, having to relive this story to share Alyssa's story with us here tonight.
you
But
can.
when I watched that, I was literally like,
Yeah, it's
what
it's
the
a
fuck?
video. It's a video. He was angry that I set up a TikTok and want justice for Alyssa, and it's a video of him laughing, mocking her dying. Pretty much, I know exactly which one you're talking about. And that's only a piece, okay, that I posted. Feel free to show any and everything. I wanted to answer questions, but my battery's about to go out. Um, I'm gonna drop down, and go plug in and be in the chat. I don't know how long you guys are staying on. Um, but I'd rather drop down and plug in before this phone goes out, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for coming up. And what I'll probably do, I'll probably pull up the TikTok and
Yeah,
I'll show a few of the videos just for context purposes. Out of respect for you, I
of
don't want
course.
to do that with you up here on panel. It's already hard
Mm-hmm.
enough for you to, you're so strong. Like I'm sending you so much love and strength, and we all are. And thank you so much for telling us Alyssa's story. And always know, like Arctic said, you're not alone. You have all my contact information. Um, Everybody that I sent you, you can reach out to our team. We're all here for you. We're all here for you. Don't ever feel like
I,
you're alone, and we're gonna push.
I
And
appreciate it so very much.
and so much love and prayers to you, Melissa. And thank you for sharing her story with us tonight.
Thank you so much.
Guys, thank you for all being here tonight as well. This is definitely a hard one, and you know, you guys you guys have heard me say it how many times now on our Not Forgotten Fridays that these are cases that I've recently started going over to TikTok because Bethany and a lot of my families are over there. And I ran across Melissa live one night and I sat there and listened. Immediately, I sent it to Doodle. I sent it to Arctic. I was like, you've got to come and listen to this mama. She needs us. And I feel like, and you guys know that y'all have heard weirdo mom up here. The stars bring us these families. Whatever higher powers out there brings us these families because they know that we're here for the right reasons and that we're going to do the damn thing. Arctic, if you said something, honey, I missed it.
No, I didn't say anything. I muted out
Okay.
because there was my mom rumbling in the background.
You're fine. You're fine. You have to remember that when I first started, like I'd say probably a good 20 of my very first videos was Craig snoring in the background. It was so bad that he got the name the Snore Monster. So you're perfectly fine. Guys, Doodle and Arctic both have been dropping all the links in the chat as well for Melissa's TikTok. I know some of you guys are not on TikTok, so I do want to pull these up and I'm going to share a handful of these videos with you guys. Be warned, it's going to make you want to scream, yell, cry, all the things at once. I'm gonna pull this up. Um, you should be able to download them from TikTok. Thank you guys for all of the purple hearts. Thank you, Duchess, for being here tonight. I appreciate you coming in. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, everybody that came in to support and listen. And please grab those links, grab those phone numbers. They'll be in the description. There, there are several links already in the description. Grab them, guys. Let's do the damn thing. Let's do what we. This mama needs our help. Okay, let me get over here. I've got some of them on my page, and then we'll pop over to Melissa's page as well. Why can't you use the word TikTok in chat? I don't know. You should be able to. I don't have any words blocked unless YouTube's filtering them out. It lets my TikTok link say TikTok in it. That's weird. You should be able to say it. I'm not monetized. I don't have any kind of restrictions over here, so I don't see why it wouldn't let you. We know what you mean, Critical. TT is TikTok. All right, these are my favorites. I'm going to start out with this one. Guys, let me know if the audio is good. It should be, because I clicked the little button that I always forget to click, and then I'm over here listening to it without you guys being able to. Yeah, it let you say it. I can see it on my side. Strange.
And talk to me and tell me what happened. Because, honey, I'm sorry I'm blowing up your phone, but you can't tell me, listen, you can't tell me someone's shoving pills down my daughter's throat and she's dead and then just disappear. Like, we need to talk, and I really need you to, like, be able to, okay. So we went to Bryce's house, okay? Wait, stop talking so quiet. Like, can people hear you? No. I'm just at this guy's house. He's letting me stay, and we yell at me. I don't believe that. Can you go, listen, can you go outside where it's not so muffled and I can hear you better? No, because that's when he's outside. All right, Chase. Can you come home? Can you go home? Can you go to my house? My mom's upset with me because of Alyssa, and she's distraught. And she's blaming me and her for training me like how to do.
You're good, Melissa. Thank
open
you.
Your mouth and talk clear so I can hear you. When you guys left the park yesterday, we hung out with Bryce. Wait, no, hold on. Chase, hold on. When you left the park, right, and I sent you money for Dunkin' Donuts, you guys got a bottle? Yeah. I'm assuming? Yes. Okay, what did you get from Drew? Anything? What did you guys get from Drew or Jake? Did you pick up weed or anything? Did you get anything? No. Okay. So how'd you get to Bryce picked you up? Yes. Okay. Go on. No. Alyssa Ubered us and he gave her the money. Right. That's what I figured. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then what happened? Like, what were you guys drinking? What was she drinking? We were drinking vodka. That's it. Some sort of whiskey. And then Bryce just kept popping bars in our mouth. He would be physically putting them in your mouth. Yes, because we were both fucked up and just being stupid. What kind of bars? One of them was blue, and the other one was pink. Okay, and do you know what about the videos? You said you have videos. Do you have Snapchat? Do you have anything to prove this? No, but I'm gonna look more. But hold on, friends coming back. I promise I'll put
So that's the phone call that Melissa was discussing between her and Chase about the pills getting shoved down Alyssa's throat. However, you guys heard the toxicology report. There were no pills in her system. So even if it was fentanyl, for those of y'all that don't know, you're talking 2 to 3 weeks for that to stay in her system. But without them doing a rape kit, I don't know if I trust them to have thoroughly done a toxicology at this point.
I know I don't. I damn sure don't trust that they looked for possible injection sites to where they could have injected alcohol into her.
I'm totally with you. I just hit the wrong button. I muted myself. I'm with you. I don't trust them at all at this point. And you guys know us. We back the blue when they deserve it, and we call them out when they don't. And this is where I feel like we're calling all of them out. That's why you're getting all the links in the chat. That's why you're getting all the links in the description. Because this is, to put it lightly, this is fucking unacceptable. Yeah, why would they say that? It makes no sense. Don't even investigation. Just immediately, oh, it was a drug overdose. Bullshit. That's not how you handle a death. That's not how you handle that. It's just like, I swear to you, it's the easy way out. It's just like, oh, a teenager went missing, they're a runaway. Bullshit. Do your job.
I'm honestly
This is
getting
the
where
ring
I
camera
trust law
footage,
enforcement.
guys.
I'm getting to where I trust law enforcement in New Jersey as much as I trust Casey Anthony's daycare center.
Right. I'm with you.
But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows. Say about you, but God only knows. There's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God always kill you, but there's kind of love that God only knows. God knows what they say about you, but God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows.
So that was the ring camera footage the last time Melissa watched Alyssa walk away from her home to go to Duncan to hang out with what she thought was a friend. Even if it was a drug overdose, I don't care how exhausted you are with the amount of them. Investigate properly, damn it. I agree. I agree, Melissa. Investigate it. I don't give a damn how tired you are. I don't care what your excuses are. It's infuriating. Okay, I'm trying to pull these up because you guys know what. And you're fine. You don't apologize, Melissa. You don't apologize at all. I know how hard this was for you to relive losing your daughter, not getting justice, not getting a proper investigation, her case completely, in my opinion, being mishandled. So you don't owe us any apologies at all. Okay, this next video that I'm going to pull up is the ring camera footage of the police officer coming to inform Melissa that Alyssa is gone.
Hi, how you doing, Miss? Hello. Where's my daughter? What's up? This is the reason I'm here. I'm sorry, I never got to report. Somerville PD called us. Apparently she passed away last night. What? Somerville PD called us. She passed away last night. My daughter? Yes, Alyssa. Got more. Bye.
So I wanted to pull the call, the officer, and the girls walking away from the home. Now I'm going to show you a video that is extremely disturbing, and you guys will understand why I got just sick at my stomach when I watched this. Thank you guys all for being here tonight. Thank you for being so supportive. Oh, I'm so glad you felt comfortable. I'm so glad, Melissa. I know you were nervous, and no matter how many of these family interviews that we do, I'm still a little bit nervous. I don't think it's anything that you ever fully get over when you're coming up on a panel. She did have a phone with her, yes. And Melissa does have the iPad as well and was able to access. That is one thing about Apple, guys. If you have kids, loved ones that have an iPhone, as long as your Apple account is logged in to your Mac, your iPad, other devices, your text messages and things like that go over to the other Apple device. Yes, I agree. Exotic. I've reached out to Mr. Steve with True Crime Web and made him aware that Melissa's going to reach out to him. I believe that he will be our best bet on being able to get her some help, since he does have the foundation and the background that he has. He's a busy man, but he's here for the families. This is what he does. Many of you guys know Mr. Steve. You can, and just like Doodle, you can take the officer out of the force, but you can't take the force out of the officer. All right, so there's going to be 3 of these. Here's the first one. That's great that you knew the passcode, Melissa. That's amazing, and that's something that we always tell people is, especially if they have teenage kids, young adults, know their gamer tags, know, their passwords. If, you should have access just in case something happens. There was no activity on her phone upon arrival at Bryce's. That's concerning in itself right there. That should have been a red flag to law enforcement that clearly didn't do their damn job. It was locked because someone on the scene trying to get into it. I'm sure that was paranoia of them wanting to make sure that there was nothing on there that they could be held accountable for. Fucking dirtbags. I swear. Some people don't deserve the oxygen that we breathe, I'm telling you. And these 2 need to be behind bars.
I'm up that phone and let it. Ow. No, stop. This is not even fake. Like, actually. She's like actually hitting me by face.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Remember we were best friends? Now we're lovers?
Where's the other one? Look at Bryce's neck. Mine, because I cut it.
It's fucking disturbing. All right. This one, y'all be ready and prepared, because I about went through my phone. How someone could be so insensitive.
She go, the best part of waking up is not dying in your sleep. New track. She go.
Now, how in the fuck is that funny? Because I didn't think it was funny at all. In any way, form, or fashion is that fucking funny. you guys couldn't read the caption, it says, "Is this how C and B," I'm going to say killed because we're over here, "my daughter"? It was to hurt you. Fucking, they're dirt bags. Absolutely dirt bags. Just unhuman. Now, this is some of the body cam footage. This is Chase that you're going to see sitting in the floor here. She is fucked up. Like, and I'm not talking just a fucked up person. She is fucked up. Like higher than a cat's ass, in my opinion.
New York is even worse. At least New York don't shoot you out here. People just do drugs. New York is even worse. At least New York don't shoot you out here.
Now, does that look like somebody that's sober and in a good state of mind? No. Not in my opinion, it don't. Looks like somebody who is straight fucked up. No, I understand, honey. We even take breaks because it gets so heavy, so I can only imagine, you know, you have to do this at your own pace. And remember self-care. Remember that even though you're fighting for justice and you're doing all the things for the light in your eyes, your angel, your one person, is you have to remember to take care of you. Yes, Mom, I agree that effect is not the last night before. Oh, Bertolie's in here. Hi, Bertolie. Thank you so much for being here, honey. Okay. I thought I had bookmarked these. These are their charges, guys. Like I said, if you're on TikTok, what I can do is those that are not on TikTok, I can probably put together like a video of some of these so you're able to see them. But this is what a mother shouldn't have to do, is go to social media and post evidence of her daughter's death. She shouldn't have to do this. I'm going to stop sharing that. And I am going to bring up a picture of Alyssa so we can end this with her beautiful face on the screen and not a monster. I did have a few comments starred. What I'm going to do is bring those up on screen. If Melissa has the strength to answer them, she can answer them in chat. Dancing while her friend lay dead. And in the audio, what I hear him saying is, "I told you she was dead," or something along those lines in there. It's like she got high when they called 911. And you guys know Craig's background, so I'm not shaming any addicts. But if you're an addict, please reach out and get help. Please reach out and get help. Let's make sure that pops up. There we go. So this is Alyssa, the beautiful woman that we have been speaking about tonight and sharing her story. So I just prefer to have her face on the screen while we end this. I don't want the monsters on the screen being the last note of the live tonight. Emily asked, "Melissa, do you have contact with Chase today?" Paula wants to know, was the dealer questioned in this case. I believe he was briefly questioned when law enforcement came to the scene. Melissa can reiterate on that if I didn't get that correctly. Mentioned the video she accidentally took walking from the Uber. Candace, again, thank you so much for being here. Tamara says they also refused to call 911 2 times when Alyssa asked them to. You don't let a friend or somebody that you're hanging out with, whatever the case may be, lay there and die. Do the right thing. I have to show the full body cam. Okay. And Alyssa, I'm going to send you my email, and if you would, don't mind, if you can send me videos, recordings, autopsy, any police reports or investigative notes that you have, so I can look over them. I would very much appreciate that as well, because like Arctic said, this is not a one and done. This won't be the only time we speak about Alyssa. This will be something that we'll circle back to, and we'll push as long as it takes to get justice. No way either of them will come in chat or text and threaten me. That's all. It's because they're both cowards, in my opinion. Critical Ass is Bryce a CI. He's a drug dealer, but I mean, in this day and time, I wouldn't be surprised. Critical. Have there been OD at that address where she was? Melissa says she doesn't think so. He did total his car and set his house on fire within days prior. Wow. Holy shit. Thank you so much, love. Thank you, thank you. Chase, have another friend or two die before. Many. If he's still in fentanyl, I'm sure he has several lives on his hands. Clearly, they're not on his conscience, so that's why I said these two monsters need to be held accountable. I asked because I see so many departments just say OD if the address is known for that. That's fucking sad. I wanted to make sure I remembered correctly. Oh yes, Chase also allegedly left another friend that OD'd and he died, and she left him. Now that is one thing I have to say about Florida, is if they find out that you were a dealer of somebody that died from a drug overdose, they put your ass in prison down here. Feels protected. It's possible. Critical. Arctic, do you got anything you want to put in?
I just hope that everyone goes and signs that damn petition and blows the phone lines up, makes those calls. Because like we've said all during the stream, no parent should have to sit and do their own investigation like this. And this reminds me a lot of what Barb went through with Timmy's case, because they tried to say, oh, he just overdosed on drugs and succumbed to the elements. And we all know that's bullshit. I mean,
Yep.
They didn't do any real investigation in that case either. It was, quite frankly, us that did the investigation on that case, and Mr. Steve, But no family should have to go through that. So make sure, you go to the description of this video, you pull the resources. I know that Melissa's got a GoFundMe. She's got the change.org petition. There's a lot of links there, guys. Make sure you click on every one of them. Do what you can to try to make sure we get justice for this young lady.
Absolutely. And there'll be phone numbers if you prefer calling. I was able to locate, which is, again, I'm going to put out there, very strange that a lot of these officials don't have their emails out there publicly. I did grab the emails that I could. But for the ones that don't have emails, there's also P.O. boxes. So if you prefer to sit down, what I call old school with a pen and paper, throw a stamp on there, and just write them a letter. Tell them how you feel. And remember, when you do send these letters, when you do call, when you do email these people, remember to put yourself in a professional place. Don't email, call, or send a letter out of anger, because negative attention is not going to get us what we need. You demand justice from the heart, if that makes sense. I hope I'm coming across right, that you demand that justice from the heart. Am I able to share this live to TikTok? Yeah, you can screen record the live. Absolutely. You can definitely screen record it, or you can do like a video and then put the link to the live in the comments, I think, on TikTok. Arctic, is it the comments or the description where you can put a link?
A link. And where are you talking about? I know in the comments you might be able to put a link, but I don't think it's a clickable link.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Well, no. Now, if you post a video, there is a place for you to put a URL in the description of the video. So yeah, you could do it that way.
Okay.
You could screen record a video and then put like the link to the full video in there.
Okay. I'm new to over there, y'all, so I'm learning. A crash course learning. Arctic's my go-to. Kimber, do you have anything you want to put in tonight?
I just want to tell Melissa again, thank you for sharing Alyssa's story. She was a beautiful young woman, and I hope that you get the justice that she deserves, and that you can find some peace once you get the justice that you deserve. I know that there is no peace for you right now, and I don't know that that will ever bring you complete peace, but I hope that you can find the justice for her that she deserves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I am sending so much love and thank yous and so much strength to you, Melissa. Again, thank you. We're very honored to have you come up and sit on the front porch with us tonight. Tell Alyssa's story. Help us get her story out there, because you'll hear me say this in Arctic too. We can sit on these panels and we can bitch, moan, complain, yell, emotional outburst, scream, the whole thing. But it's nothing like hearing it come from the family, because it humanizes that person and it gives the community and it gives that person their voice back through you, and not only through advocates or what we are. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We will do whatever we can to help and push, push, push. And we have a great community. And guys, like I said, this is a call to action. I'm begging all of you guys from the bottom of my hearts, please don't be scared. If you don't know what to say, you know how to get a hold of me. You can get a hold of me in the comment under this video. I'm on Twitter. I'm on TikTok. I'm on the Facebook. My email's in my description, on my contact page, my about page on my channel. You don't know what to say, reach out to me. Reach out to Arctic. Reach out to Doodle. Reach out to Duchess. One of us will help you write. If you can't find the words, reach out to one of us. And Arctic, I'm going to throw this idea at you. How do you feel about having one of us, and I know you're really good with words, so I'm not putting you out there, but I'm just saying, making like a template where people can take that that template and kind of have an idea of what needs to be put in the communications when they reach out to these officials?
I can work on something like that this weekend. I probably can't do it tomorrow because I've got my live tomorrow, but Sunday I can try to work on something like that.
Okay. You think that would be a good idea, especially for people that are new to reaching out to officials?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I mean, that way, they've got
Okay.
a starting point.
Perfect. Perfect. We'll do whatever we can. And thank you so much, Critical, for if you'll repost some of the videos. I appreciate you so much. And thank you for being here tonight. Thank you all for being here tonight, guys. Love you all so much. We have a great community, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you. Arctic, you want to say your closing?
Guys, you never know what that next person's going through. Melissa's a prime example. The person you meet on the street could be going through a similar circumstance. Just take that one extra second out of your day to smile and be kind to one another out there, because you just don't ever know.
Facts. Kimber?
Y'all be good humans. Good night.
And you guys know me. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being respectful. Thank you for sending all the love. Thank you in advance for doing what we've asked you to do tonight as a call of action. Remember, if you see something, say something. It takes a village to raise a child. We never give up. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. But a side note, remember that tomorrow at 11 Central Time, noon Eastern Time, and if you're past Central, you got to do it yourself because I'll give you the wrong time. Arctic is going to be live with Bonnie, Danielle Bell's sister. You guys, if you were here that night, if you replay crew, you know that Bonnie's sister, Danielle Bell, was our very first case that we featured here on the channel on Not Forgotten Friday. Her sister was murdered, is still missing. She's fighting for justice. Remains have been found. Can't get law enforcement to get off their asses and do what they need to do to test the remains. So don't miss that live, guys. We need to do a video of the case like Vlad's videos to share out. That's a great idea too, Critical. That's an amazing idea. All right, guys, I'm really going this time. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for everybody from my community. Thank you for everybody from Melissa's community that came over here tonight. Remember, hit that like button. Share this video out. Put it on all your social medias. Check the description. Give me about 10 minutes. I'll have all of the contact information in the description on the video. And I will catch you guys on the flip side.